Thank you for stopping by today on the Black Veteran channel. On this channel, I discuss different things from the military, the world, employment, sports, through the eyes of a black veteran. So take a minute to like and subscribe. Now we will uncover and shine a light on the worldview through the perspective of a black veteran. Hey again, this is the Black Veteran. Today I'm going to go over a couple of things that some people may not be aware of. Some people think it may not exist. Others may have experienced it. But I'm here to talk a little bit more about it, to show you what's out there, and just to let you know I see it, I know it, I dealt with it, and other people may be dealing with the same thing. So just sit back a little bit, take it all in, but more importantly, understand this is the view through the perspective of a black veteran. So the first thing I'm gonna go over is some things that we may not be aware of, or some things that other people may not notice. But let's watch this real quick and let me know where we're going from here.
That's a common misconception.
Hold on, let me try that again because you may not.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. Promises to oneself, promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise forever kept.
Now, we all saw that, and you see all the different things that they was going through, some of the different individuals, different people. So when people think of the military, they think of once you put on that uniform, we all together, we all fight as one. That people don't see a color. Only color they see is the color of your uniform, whether it's Air Force blue, navy, white, black, brown, blue. Navy got a lot of different colors. The Marines, dark blue or black, and the Army green, and even Coast Guard. That's what color people see. But you gotta remember, the military is made out of people, humans. And a lot of times they don't get past their own biases that they may have. And that's what we have to deal with. So let's take a look at this and tell me what you think. Here is an article, and as you see, this article came out was just last year. It's still grappling with racism, extremists. One of the things that you want to take a look at here is the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. He knows that there is still racism in the military. If not, what will be the point of coming out with an order? It's almost like, Why come out with the law against murder if no one's murdering anyone? You know it's happening. And you put that out there to try to stop it. There's been long efforts to try to get rid of it. The thing is, between then and now, like years ago, it was more overt years ago because it was the common practice. Now they just have to hide it more, and they do a good job of it. What do I mean by that? How they do it is they will come up with an order where one military soldier, they may fail a fitness test, so they may get a chance to do it over again. Another soldier may fail it and they get paperwork. And as soon as you ask, like, hey, I heard that there was another individual that was able to take it again, their first thing is, I can't discuss that. So what do you do? What do you do? So one of the things here that they came up with, it was recent naval study, post-grad study, found out that black Marines, just right here, look at this. Just look at it. A recent naval postgraduate study found that black Marines were convicted and punished at court-martials at a rate 5 times higher than other races across the Marine Corps. Now, you hear that. You hear that. You see that. So, what do you think? Do you still think it's equal? Do you still think everyone treated the same? Let's look at this. I just pulled up something really quick. Now, just keep this in mind. A recent study that black Marines were punished at court-martial at a 5 times higher rate than other races. Black Marines, other races. So when people say minority, no. Black people tend to get punished a lot harsher, a lot higher than anyone else. It's not only in the military, but it's also across the country. But just look at this real quick. Now the U.S. Marines, look at the breakdown. 75% white, 10% black. But somehow, black are still punished at a higher rate. So, this is still a big issue. A huge issue. And they try to address it, but they also try to keep it under wraps or sweep it under the rug. Let's take a quick look at something else that I came up with, and you tell me what you think about this. Ladies and gentlemen, let me make sure this audio is up, right?
Gentlemen, you may have heard that some people down in the prep school wrote some racial slurs on some message boards. If you haven't heard that, I wanted you to hear it from me. If you're outraged by those words, then you're in the right place. That kind of behavior has no place at the prep school, it has no place at USAFA, and it has no place in the United States Air Force.
Sorry, I was muted. Just look at the room. What do you see? Okay. This is what you see. This is what we see as black members. We don't see us. We don't. So when things go bad, this is who we see. And when things that happens detrimental to us and we report it up, this is who we see. Okay, I'm gonna keep it going. He got some good information. Just listen to.
You should be outraged not only as an airman, but as a human being. And I'll tell you that the appropriate response for horrible language and horrible ideas, the appropriate response is a better idea. So that's why I'm here. That's why all these people are up here on the staff tower. So let me have everybody who's up here, please pull forward to the rails. Also, there are so many people here, they're lining the outsides along the windows. These are members of the faculty, coaching staff, AOCs, AMTs, from the airfield, from my staff, from my headquarters. All aspects of the 10th Air Base Wing, all aspects that make up USAFA and the United States Air Force Academy. Leadership is here. You heard from Brigadier General Goodwin. Brigadier General Armacost is here. Colonel Block from the athletic department is here. Mr. Knowlton is in Washington, D.C. right now. That's why they're here. That's why we're all here, because we have a better idea. Some of you may think that that happened down in the prep school and doesn't apply to us. I would be naive, and we would all be naive to think that everything is perfect here. We would be naive to think that we shouldn't discuss this topic.
What they're doing, again, he's trying to discuss the topic, discuss what happened. And we look at it as, well, what's to discuss? If it's zero tolerance, it's zero tolerance. And they like to talk. They like to give you the verbal, we got your back and your support. And when it first happens, sometimes they will step up and they will, what they say, do the right thing. They will step up and, hey, here we are, we got your back. When it first happened, and they get all the visuals, all the verbals, and we feel like, okay, maybe something's gonna change. Maybe something's gonna change. But let me show you how. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Let me show you this other one here. Now this one, a year ago. Just 1 year. So it's around the same time. But just take a look at this and tell me what you think. Do you think it changed?
CBS News correspondent David Martin on race in the ranks.
Every single African American we've interviewed said they had to moderate their behavior so they weren't intimidated.
I had a very candid conversation with one of the individuals who passed me this information. He broke it down. You're big, you're black, with a deep voice. You're intimidating. And if you want to move on, you have to do something about it.
This week on 60 Minutes, we reported on racial bias in the military. From the rank and file to officers, African Americans in the Air Force say they are treated differently than their white counterparts. Major Dave.
Okay, now we have an issue. Every time we want to get into some good conversation, good information, stuff happens. But did you hear what he said? Just imagine you at a job where few can get into. You do everything right to qualify for it. Everything right. And to be told that because you're genetically big, that you have a deep voice, that you got to do something. Like, what do they expect you to do? Oh, some of you may not know, but sometimes we expected to put on a what they call a less intimidating voice. like high pitch voice, we know. Some people know what I'm talking about here. You have to change our tone and try to make ourselves smaller or make a higher pitch in our voice to be something we're not, to put on an act. That's what we're told to do. But I'm gonna keep it going and see if you all are tracking what I'm tracking here.
Daniel Walker is an F-22 pilot. On an Air Force program called Real Talk, hosted by Lieutenant General Brad Webb, he read comments made by other black pilots.
I have a couple of quotes I want to read off.
You bet.
My fighter experience was the most demoralizing experience in my life, and I've been homeless. The second is, to be yourself and thrive in a fighter squadron as a black man is an oxymoron. Either conform or fail. These are my friends. These are my brothers. And my sisters, actually.
Walker sat down with us to share his story.
This story is not uncommon. I could very easily attribute this interaction to that action on my part. But when you compare stories from people you've never met, and they're almost identical, down to the individual and down to the comment, you start to realize these are not singular events in one person's life.
Walker grew up in Dallas. His family told stories of his great uncle, Norman Scales, a Tuskegee airman who earned a Distinguished Flying Cross for combat missions during World War II.
At 6 years old, to have your dad's uncle be a Tuskegee airman and see the movies and hear about Uncle Scales, he's got a street named after him in Austin, your family can't help but talk about him. And when I was born and they saw things in me, I felt at a very early age those hopes start to transition to my shoulders. He flew fighters and he changed the trajectory of my family's history. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Determined to follow in those footsteps, Walker went to the
Okay, I hope you're with me here. You see that. Tuskegee Airmen, we all know the history of Tuskegee Airmen. Red Tails, we know the history, we know the valor, we know what they endured. During all this racist and humiliating times, they still fought for this country. The same country during those times was giving the white German prisoners preferential treatment over their own citizens that was fighting and dying. Just think about what we have to endure. Just think about that for a minute. And he's thinking, okay, let me follow in his footsteps. Let me be the proud airman that I can be and fight for my country. And to get similar treatment, and then some people want to have this idea, well, why are black men or black women so angry, so frustrated? It happened a long time ago. No, it is continually happening. As of now. You think this airman is lying? He's not. You think all those other airmen and pilots that he was reading those messages, you think they're lying? They're not. Think they're imagining it? Think this is in their head? It is not. We fight battles upon battles upon battles. And we shouldn't be fighting our brethren or our sisters that's in the military. We shouldn't do that. But we are, because of what? Because we were born with a different skin complexion. Interesting. Okay.
the Air Force Academy, and from there to pilot training.
Told what to expect at flight school?
Unfortunately, yes. We've had alumni come back, black pilots who'd gone through pilot training. The story was, you're going to go, they're going to treat you poorly. When you wash out, they're probably not going to keep you in the Air Force. So if you go, don't go trying to fly fighters. But in the grand scheme of things, probably don't go.
How did that play in your decision about whether to go?
Well, in my mind, I have to prove it can be done and then prove it can be repeatable.
Walker excelled at flight school and earned a coveted assignment to fly the Air Force's top-of-the-line F-22 stealth fighter.
So you go to F-22 school.
Yes, sir.
What was that like?
It was a blast. It was the most fun I'd ever had in my entire life. Seeing things and doing things with so much power underneath you and behind you and around you that it's surreal.
Did you feel your race going through the F-22 training?
Not initially. I got feedback at the end of this course, however, that it was very evident that I was having a good time and maybe I shouldn't have been. Or I talked too much. I started to realize that maybe there was something more to this. Things like, if you don't assimilate, we will weed you.
Okay, now, I know I'm stopping it again, but do y'all catch that? Do you catch the fact that he's saying that he had a good time, even though when he first started about going, people were telling him not to go. People were telling him, don't do it. You're gonna watch out. It's not like they're afraid. It's just they didn't want him to go through some of the things that they went through. They know how tough it was. Not just the training itself, but the extra stuff on top of that training that no person should deal with. No, you shouldn't deal with that. You already got a tough enough time to training itself. You shouldn't deal with other things on top of that. But let's continue this and keep it moving.
You out. Or I have to ask myself, is this
Okay, now this thing want to act up. YouTube trying to slow us down here and trying to keep us from getting this information out. But nope, we're gonna continue this going. We're gonna continue it. So let's go.
Is this a me thing or is this something else? And that takes a lot of energy to carry that question mark around with you.
After his training, Walker joined an F-22 squadron in Langley, Virginia.
Did you feel like you belonged?
I did initially. I did.
Initially.
You start to hear feedback like, he's too quiet. It seems like he thinks he's too good to be here or too good for this place. And they try to be a different form of quiet. Or the way he walks is intimidating.
After 11 years as an Air Force officer, Walker decided it was time to move on.
I had to really start taking seriously my happiness, my well-being, ask myself, am I willing to continue fighting uphill and chance going back to a squadron where I have to manage myself this way and sacrifice these things personally? Will I get anywhere?
Walker's departure leaves the Air Force with fewer than 50 black fighter pilots. Lieutenant General Brad Webb.
It's a loss for the Air Force. He was an incredible pilot, incredible officer, outstanding officer for us, but he served our nation well.
Walker has been accepted at Harvard Law School.
That flag still means a ton to me. I have something unique to add to my country in a different plane. My decision to go to law school, which is what I have planned next for myself, centers around that. How can I take everything I've experienced here to include these interviews in this moment in time and channel it, this energy, toward affecting change? If I'm going to do anything with the rest of my life, I think it's going to be that. It has to be that.
This is not common. Not uncommon. I'm sorry, this is not uncommon. It's not uncommon. As you said, you're fighting a battle. So you carrying this with you this whole way through. This whole way through. And what ended up happening? And this is what a lot of them want. Again, every single person in the military is not racist. Please don't think that. But there's enough to a great airman pilot like that decided to get out because it was so much. You're fighting up here. You already got the enemy out there that you got to fight. Other countries trying to attack you. You already have that. But now you got the enemy from within. And they do things so subtle that we know, we get that feeling. So what do? You complain? You file a complaint? And unless a person is on tape saying, with the KKK hat on or something blatantly outlandish, it's gonna be hard to prove. See, that's how it works now. It's the macro and micro aggressions that we have to fight every day. So either our mental health is going to be hurt and we continue to fight, or we decide to leave and exit and do something else that we can be more productive in, that we don't have to continue that fight. But again, if you don't believe this individual, I have another person here. Let's see what she has to say about it. And actually, it's gonna be more than one. Just take a listen.
The military facilitated my social mobility. As a black female from a small town in southwest Georgia who came from very humble beginnings to now being a medical professional and a retired military officer, that means a lot. I was the only black female squadron commander, and I got called the N-word, and I went to my boss, and she said, I still have people who use that word in my family, and nothing was done about, it's like over and over and over again.
The last I checked, it was probably zero tolerance, right? She got called the N-word, right? She went to her supervisors, what you were trained to do. And what happened? Nothing. So you get disrespected. You get called a word that was to tear us apart, to make us feel less than human, to put us down. And my family still use that. So not only she does nothing, now she said people in her blood family still use it. So think about that for a second. Who is blood really thicker than water? If her family still use it, do you really think she's gonna have her back? Her family, who do you think she would choose? The supervisor. This is what we deal with. So what do you do? Now I know a lot of people out there say, man, you're going and you're stretching it, you're reaching it, but it ain't just me. Here's some more. Just take a look at this. It's so deep.
For me, as the daughter of an immigrant, there was such a dire want to be part of this country. You go on and you put on a uniform and you're told you're gonna be the same as everybody else. It was a course on Latin America, and I remember I was so excited because these were my roots. And a high-ranking Border Patrol agent was asked to speak to the class, and when he described a migrant in the desert, he was like, we found this dead woman in a drainage pipe, and people laughed. And I went to the bathroom, I threw up, and then I cried in my car during the lunch break.
Every time I brought up an issue where I was having problems, it got swept under the rug, but I was held accountable where other people were not. So I don't know if it was because he didn't like me because I was black or because...
Wait, did you hear what he just said? He was held accountable when other people was not. That goes back to the black Marines being court-martialed, and their charges a lot higher, 5 times higher than the other races. It's like you in your head, in your mind, as a black man, you no, it can't be because of my race. We all together. I shed the same blood as you. We went through the same training. There's no way. So you play these games in your own head and saying, and see, this is how a lot of people have these emotional breakdowns, because you play these no, it can't be because of my race, because we're supposed to be beyond that, right? Zero tolerance, right? We have all the trainings. We have all the equal opportunity trainings. We have all the diversity trainings. We have all the no discrimination, zero zero tolerance policy. We have all of that. So what is it? And then you start second guessing yourself. But don't get upset. If you get mad and you go back and you yell back, what's the next thing that's going to happen? Next thing that's going to happen is you are going to be held responsible for yelling back. You are going to be the angry one. You are going to be the disrespectful one. You are going to be the intolerant one, the one that can't control their emotions, the one that, hey, they shouldn't be in the military. Not the person that's doing it. Not the person that's causing these issues or causing you to second guess yourself. Nah, it's not you. I mean, it's not them. It's you.
Because I was whatever, but being the only black officer on the ship and I was the only one having problems, I assume race had something to do with it.
I was a residency trained, but I was a black female when most flight surgeons are white male. So it took a really long time for me to gain their trust. They told my boss that they're afraid of me.
I had to decide between re-enlisting or getting out, and I decided to get out.
Did you hear that again? The F-22 pilot did the same thing. Decided to get out. The military, when you retire, it definitely has some great benefits. You get a pension retirement. You also can get in a lot of different discounts. In some cases, you can get property taxes waived. So there's a lot of benefits to retire. You can still have access to the base. So you can go on the base and use the commissary or the base exchange where it's either no tax or very low tax. So there's a lot of benefits to retiring. But because of all this stuff, you got to think about if you have a family. You got to think about everybody. You got to think about, should I continue to go through this, and how am my mental state is going to be around my family? How are they going to take it? How are they going to see it? How the other airmen or the Marine or the soldier or the other seamen, how are they going to see me? How can I lead by example when they see that I'm going through this stuff and I'm not doing anything about it? Or they see that I'm trying to do something about it, but it doesn't happen. So there's all this stuff that you got to deal with. So you make that decision. Should I stay in or not? And you see, this is the biggest thing here. Oh yeah, they're going to be proactive and do all this and do that. Then you ask what? Being in for 17 years, they're going to say, we're going to give some more training. We're going to put out some more surveys. Oh, zero tolerance. But then when something happens, oh, I know. Let's move that offender to a different location. Let's move that offender to a different base. Trust me, I've been there. I've been there. I've seen it. I worked in a location where I seen it all. And I reported it all. They reported it all. Or somehow the person who investigated, no, they didn't see anything wrong with it, but they worked, the person that investigated is in the chain of command. Whether it's direct line chain of command or just rank structure. Just imagine that. If I'm looking into the base, the general or colonel of the base is in charge of that base. If someone on that base does anything discriminatory, the general typically is held responsible. So what do? You have somebody in a different unit, a different squadron on that base investigate. How does that make sense? Because the person that's on that base investigating, guess what their rank going to be? It's going to be lower than the general. So you really think they're going to put in a bad report even though they see it? Or are they looking to disprove it to protect the general? Is everyone being a general's attorney or colonel's attorney? Again, as you follow me along, I'm going to come with different, what they call receipts, showing all these different investigations that go what they call substantiated, undiscovered. when it's clear as day when you read it. When you have, out of 60 people, you only have 5 black members, and each of them felt the same thing, and each of them leave, and you can use them and say, well, they talk to each other, but what about the ones come after it? They do the same thing. Who's the common denominator? The culture, the leadership, they're the common denominators. When a person that get a claim filed against them or report filed against them, you see them getting promoted. What does that tell everybody else? Coach Holm Rivers said, either you're coaching it or you're allowing it. If they're still there and people are still there and they're still doing the same thing, either you're coaching it or you're allowing it. That's it. There's no middle ground. Let's continue.
The Air Force has a chief of staff who's a black male. Secretary Austin is a black male, but that's one cycle. The systemic racism is centuries old. It's going to take more than one cycle of leadership. It's like turning an aircraft carrier. It takes a long time.
I'm going to say this. It's not only what she's saying that, hey, it takes a long time, which that's 100% correct. It does. But just think about this for a second. You put a black face on something, which think, hey, they're not gonna let it go. Even though they may see it, you know who's still ultimately in charge. Just that's a lot of time what they do. They'll put someone of that race or that gender in charge of something. But it still happens. I had a situation where it's a member, soldier, Marine, Army, Air Force, where they was a commander of a unit. A great commander. A black man. Very fair. He kept wanting to have some type of a survey come out to check the pulse, because he inherited a mess. But every time we try to do it, something happened. Well, no one can get out there to do this survey. No one can have it. He knew it was up. He felt it. But there was only so much can do, because again, he's in charge of a unit. But guess what? There's somebody in charge of him, and there's somebody in charge of that person. He can make all the suggestions he wants. But if those other two people don't want to see it happening, it's not going to happen. So he decided to leave. And upon his leaving, he had all types of monkey stuffed animals put on his locker, derogatory pictures, all types of things. This is in the United States military. So you can take the person out of a racist location, but you can't take the racist out of that person if they don't want it to be taken out. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but it's more than enough. And if you don't see that, you're being complicit in it. You're being complicit. It's serious. It's one of those things that we see happen all the time. But what are we gonna do about it? I'm gonna start shining a light on all of this stuff here. So feel free to chime in. Leave a note in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're not experiencing. And if you are, let me know that as well. Because my thing is this. I've been quiet for way too long. I'm tired of being quiet. Quiet's not gonna help. So, excuse me real quick. Being quiet is not gonna help those that's going through this. And I want everyone out there that is going through something like this to know you are not alone. It's not just you. Even though it's 2023, it is still occurring. It's still happening. So you're not alone. We are with you. We stand together. And if we don't, they win. So let's stick together. Again, share your thoughts, share your comments. My contact information is going to be in the description below, or how to get in touch with me, and let me know if there's something you want to talk about in the next one. If you want to come aboard, we can do it and have a conversation together. The thing is this, we have to shine a light on what's happening here in our world, but in our military too. At the VA is going to be next. That's going to be my next topic, the VA and VA disability. You think it stopped once you got in? Oh, no. It continues after that. So, next week, I'm going to hop on this, go over it again. Let me know what you think. Again, it's going to be some very, very, very eye-opening information for those who don't know. So, hope you hit that like button, subscribe, and share, because this Black veteran is going to be here, and it's going to open up your eyes and open up everyone else's eyes to what we've been going through here, to let you know we're not going to stand for it. We will let the world know we're here to stay, we're here to be strong, but we also here to shine a light on what people try to keep in the dark. Have a good night.